We have information on a possible leaked or abandoned summer map for Pokemon Unite. And you know, we have the ability for a new map to come right around the time of Worlds, so I kind of wouldn't be surprised if we see something like this. A lot of it looks really, really cool. Let me show it to you right here. Also, I'm kind of wearing a green shirt today, so I'm disappearing. Jake, your resident content cowboy here, yeehaw. Make sure that you clap and believe in me, or I apparently fade away. Let's take a look at this map because it's actually pretty awesome. This right here is the possible coming or possible abandoned summer map for Pokemon Unite, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see something like this come to the game. We have had the remote stadium. We are on Thea Sky Ruins. It would not be surprising to me if we see a map like this come out of Worlds. So let's take a look at some of the stuff we have. If you see in this central kind of jungly area, or the central area as the game calls it right here, there is a bush, some tall grass on their way leading into it from this bottom path here, and you can see the same thing up on the top path, even though it looks more tropical on that side. So you kind of have this sneaky way of getting in and out of that central area. You can see these faded goal zones across the map. There's like one right there, one right there, so it has the same amount of goals that you would see on a normal map. And then you notice the objectives seem like they would fight much differently on this map. So we have this almost pedestal looking thing. Let me zoom in. Computer, enhance. So this is interesting. There's almost this bunker and it looks like arrows are kind of pushing into it. So maybe you move through this and you don't know what's inside of it until you are inside of it. Perhaps you go in there, and if you are inside of it for a period of time, you secure an objective, almost like a timed objective. And I'll talk to you a little bit more about why something like that may be the case, because without that, there aren't really a ton of other great places to fight for an objective outside of this central area right here, where obviously the main objective inside the map would spawn. But this would be very, very cool. It would be a very different flavor from what we've seen in Pokemon Unite so far. One thing I think that's very interesting is we have all of these waterways here and all of these bridges. So movement would be obstructed not by rocks or anything like that, but by these impassable places of water. I have to assume that they're impassable. Obviously, you could jump over them if you had a dash type move or anything like that, but it would really create a different environment for a lot of the fights inside this game. And for me, some of the biggest stuff would be these two areas right here. Again, this top area that we're seeing right now, which is where the center area massive fight would take place. And then this really interesting sort of, I don't know, bunker-ish area in the bottom path. I have no idea what they would plan to do with this. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments, but it's a very, very interesting setup, and it looks like it would obscure vision from the outside. That's what I would guess just looking at this. A little closer on the side of the map here, we could see what looks like, you know, a wrecked pirate ship, as if, you know, this is sort of a lost island or something like that, where Pokemon go and they have to live here forever because you just can't seem to get out. Even though I think a Pokemon would probably be industrious enough to figure out a way to get off of a deserted island, right? Either way, that's where we are. We're on some sort of deserted island where they are fighting. And strangely enough, these ships, they just keep wrecking, almost in such a way where you think, all right, it's pretty odd that you would wreck the same way on both sides of the island. That's all I'm saying. Very odd. I wish we had the technology where I could go enhance and we'd be able to see that a little bit better, but you can't really clean it up too much. There's something up on this top path here, or excuse me, on this main base here, and I don't know if it's supposed to be sort of a, you know, almost ruin from the island, or if it's more of their version of a Pokemon Center, but it's a pretty cool look at what might have been on this island. Now, let me show you something actually pretty interesting about this island and about where the game came from. Oh, I also have to mention that they did find some information on what wild Pokemon would be there. Toxapex apparently was going to be on the map, as well as, I'm going to butcher this name, but Mewtwo. Did I get it right? Let me know in the comments. But apparently these were going to be some of the wild Pokemon on this map. I also want to point out that they had something inside this map called a time tree, and this is what also leads me to believe that maybe something inside of that little bunker had to do with securing. We have these points that you stand on, and it looks like, at least this is what I'm guessing, that if you stand on this, you would either unlock something or secure something, or it would change something on this map. I have no idea what it would be. I don't know if we're dealing with time elements inside the game. I really don't know exactly how this could work, but it sounds like a cool thing, and there's something about holding it for a side or capturing it for a side. Let me get the exact wording here. The exact wording is time tree area trigger, blue side time tree triggering mechanism. So I don't know if that's something where if you stand in this area long enough, it does something, or by using this somehow it changes the area of the map. But don't think for a second that all of this work and all of this stuff is just necessarily lost or anything like that. This could all be being used as they move forward inside the game. Also, we see that there are lots of elements of this map that look like the map that we saw originally when this game was first announced inside of one of the Pokemon days, I think is what it was. When this game was first announced, we can see they had a very, very similar map to what we're looking at now. We see the waterways connecting things. We do see the tall grass. It felt a little more like League of Legends. This map, I don't know why, but just looking at it, I have more League of Legends vibes with how the central areas look and things like that. But this was the map that they were originally playing on way back in the day in that first announcement video, and I think maybe even in that first beta video where they had the influencers or whatever going at each other. That was the first map that we saw, and we can kind of see how this evolved. But I think just because we're seeing that this evolved from that doesn't mean that they're going to abandon this at all. We always could still have the summer map that we've always wanted, the Moltres in the center, or whatever Pokemon maybe you would like in there the most. I think it's definitely possible, and it looks like we've left this, but it doesn't mean that they don't have plans to bring us back to this sort of island style for Pokemon Unite. Also, just kind of cool to look at how the game used to be as it went through development right here. Pokemon used to have 3 moves, so this was Charizard with Fire Spin, Dragon Claw, and Flamethrower, I believe. Also, its Unite move right there. You used to have the score at the top of the screen, which obviously they got rid of. It used to be red and blue, then it became orange and purple. So there are a lot of things that have changed right here in Pokemon Unite, but I don't think that means that we have left all of this stuff behind. I really think that these could be great indicators for where the game may be moving in the future. Let me know what you think about this map. Honestly, I think the map looks freaking awesome, and I would love to see a version of it somehow in the game. Without question, if they announce a new map at Worlds or something like that, I think that would be just freaking so exciting. All right, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I will see you all soon. I'm disappearing.